Hi YouTube, happy Tuesday. I have yet another video in the Casio FX graphing calculator series, and this one will be about the C.Basic IDE that you can install on your fx-9860 series as well as fx-CG series calculators. This is a enhanced basic IDE for a subset of the Casio FX graphing calculators. And just from looking at it a little bit, it's very, very exciting. It offers everything from standard Casio Basic commands to the ability to peek and poke RAM and have system calls. That's really, really exciting that you can have some machine code and direct memory access through C.Basic. It's almost reminiscent of the TMS 7000 machine code that you can enter in on a TI-95, that integration of machine code with keystroke programming. But it's also a bit scary because you could corrupt the RAM on your Casio FX series graphing calculator. I just wanted to show you real quick that you can download this from the GitHub instance at planetcasio.com. CalcLover HK has updated this significantly and has new releases just in the past month or so. Let me just be sure. Yes, exactly. 3 weeks ago for FX 2.5 build 3, I got this 2.5 build 3 version as opposed to the 3.1 version that has a floating point performance regression hotfix. It does say it's a lot slower. And these are just some changes relative to previous builds. I know previous versions were shared in Casio forums, but I think it's really nice that there's this GitHub-like instance now for newer versions. I'll go back here and go through the information. I have a 9860G2 that I showed you in the previous video, and C.Basic is compatible with that. It's really exciting, as I mentioned earlier, because it combines Casio Basic with a lot of SDK exclusive features. I'll talk about the FX SDK that you can use on your desktop, on my Linux desktop, in a future video. Right now it's just an interpreter, but in the future it'll be C::Basic, which will have a compiler. So why would you want to install this on your Casio graphing calculator, especially considering that the newest release is 452 kilobytes, which takes up about a third of the flash storage on a 9860G2. Well, it offers add-in-like performance with basically no modifications to existing Casio Basic programs. You don't have to compile something in the SDK and install an add-in from that. You can just write programs on the calculator itself. You can access and edit programs directly in storage memory, flash memory, and on the SD card if you have a 9860G2 SD. It includes a robust editor with features from a modern IDE. You get syntax highlighting, indentation, variable matrix lookup and debugging. It has extended commands with Casio Basic style syntax. I mentioned some of them earlier. And you can emulate the G1M runtime environment on FX-CG calculators. Some things to know: you have to overclock your calculator, or you don't have to. You can overclock your calculator on an FX CG10 or CG20. That doesn't apply to me. C.Basic uses floating point to express numbers instead of binary coded decimal that Casio Basic uses, so handling non-integer calculations could cause approximation errors. So that's interesting to note. And that's pretty much everything here. I'll go to the wiki on the next page. Looks like there's still more to be added here. Let's see, it was initially released on October 12, 2015, so it's about a 10-year-old program. It can access most Casio Basic programs in both main memory and storage memory without requiring you to manually change their modes. It has an IDE that makes programming easier than just with the default basic environment. I'll compare and contrast those in a second. It's part of the C::Basic project, still only an interpreter. hopefully in the future it'll be a compiler and further increase processing speed. I'll have to try nqueens within C::Basic and within regular Casio Basic just to compare runtimes. I might have a separate video on that, and I'll have another one with my regular camera that I've used for recording most of those bike and computing videos, the SX530HS. Just use my Canon camera as opposed to the webcam that's recording me now to show you a bit more about C.Basic. Includes a file manager, program editor, variable editor, matrix editor, character picker, and setup page. There's different execution modes, calculation modes, integer, real, and complex. Data containers we talked about. VRAMs I don't know about. Fonts, and then there's some extended commands. And there's a bunch of information here. This is sort of interesting. Oh, Super H. And as I probably talked about in previous videos, the Casio graphing calculators run on Super H processors, which are RISC architecture. Okay. If I'll go back here, I'll have to look at these further in the future. Let's just see what this WSC. Oh, geez, OnCalc C compiler. That's developed some time ago. Anyhow, so things to know. We can go through here. It's not compatible with all Casio Basic commands. Some commands in C.Basic have intentional differences. Commands for more information. I mentioned floating point versus binary code decimal, CPU overclocking. Make sure you back up all your data as in addition to having a syscall command, the add-in itself uses a lot of system calls. It's possible C.Basic might encounter some unknown bugs and thus making storage memory completely uneditable. Execute syscall OX205 in C.Basic as a last resort if you cannot figure out which files are corrupted. This method, in theory, only works on the FX series calculators and is only confirmed to be working with the 9750G3 and 9860G3. Okay. It's interesting. So the installation listed here is through the FA124 software program. But as I showed you previously, I was able to just use Xfer 9860 or P7 that Tom Tohey produced in order to transfer files from my Linux PC to the 9860G2. Okay, glossary of terms. That isn't too exciting here. There isn't yet a beginner's guide. Instead of complaining about that, maybe I should create one myself at some point. Or contact Calc user HK. And let me just show some of the commands here. There's a lot of extended commands offered. These are compatible ones. It looks like as far as those, oh, this is pretty interesting. Random numbers, definitely the seed of some games there. I really need to implement Mastermind in this Casio Basic, C.Basic keystroke language. I think that would be good to learn. You see everything like DSC and ISC that you'd see on an older programmable calculator are carried over, in addition to more structured or more control structures like for next and if then else, while end, do while. Some basic I/O commands that already are included in C.Basic. I'll just go. This isn't too exciting. Draw a graph, and these different graph functions are partially supported. And then if I go down here, you can see there's a lot of really exciting stuff that's added to C.Basic in addition to what's already offered through Casio Basic. There's different sketching commands, some additional structured commands, and there's definition of this, jumping to subprograms, setting the backlight on and off, and I guess changing the level too. Or wait, changing the level on the CG series. That's all well and good. I/O is also Very cool. You can send data. You can send data over the serial port. That is super, super cool. Imagine you have an Arduino you want to get talking to your graphing calculator. Send 38K, that sends data to a connected device at 38 kilobaud. Lots of fun things here. Beep, open COM port at 38K. Okay, gotcha. And then I guess the most exciting stuff out of all of this is I'm trying to look for peak, but yes, hardware. Syscall, call, poke, peak, variable pointer, and program pointer. You have almost direct machine code access, and you can do different things. To RAM, poke. I honestly have forgotten poke versus. Oh, that makes sense. So peek is getting what's located at a specified memory address, whereas poke is setting the memory byte at the specified address. Anyway, so with that discussed, I'm just going to show you that I did get C.Basic transferred over to my calculator. Yeah, you should be able to see it there in the bottom. C.Basic. And I'll just compare really quick regular program environment that you can see there. Oh, I'll just tip it a bit here. There's the regular program environment. Oh, oops, I should shift off, press exit. Okay, and then just I accidentally ran my nQueen's benchmark. I'll exit here, exit menu, and then go into C.Basic. And now you can see I have a few programs in flash storage there on the calculator. There's a lot of glare. Yeah, I think that should look a bit better. And I'm just create a file to write a mastermind program. And I can show you that if I go to second program, there are a lot of exciting things. You can see, there you go. Now within C.Basic, we have syscall, call, peek, and poke. Or poke and peek. Syscall, call, poke, and peek. That is super, super cool. Really excited to seeing what I can do here with C.Basic that I wouldn't be able to do in regular Casio Basic. I think that pretty much wraps everything up. I haven't done too much with this, and I wonder if, as I use it, I should develop some sort of tutorial or something and possibly put that on GitHub. If you have experience using C.Basic, please leave them in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe as always. Have a great one.